Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today inshallah we'd like to complete our session, our discourse in the laws of Qurbani and Udhiyah. In the last class, just to pick up from the last class, we stopped by those parts of the animal that are unlawful to consume. Understand? Here we're speaking about an animal that is what? Slaughtered according to the laws of the Sharia. Halal, the animal is halal, and slaughtered, according to the laws of the Sharia. But there are certain parts of the animal that even though it is what? Slaughtered according to the laws of the Sharia, are considered what? Unlawful to consume. When we mention in Adam al-Masfuh, the flowing blood. The flowing blood, when the animal is slaughtered, that blood that gushes out, that blood is what? Impure, najis. Alright, if it comes in contact with a person's clothes or body, it would make it impure. And that would prevent the validity of salah. And that blood also cannot be consumed, that is haram. We're not speaking of the blood that what? Is in the meat itself. Right, the blood that is in the meat itself, that is what? That is tahir, that is clean. The blood, the liver itself, that is what? Clean and tahir. Secondly, the male genitals, the female genitals, the testicles, even though it may be a delicacy for some, according to the Hanafi madhab, that is makruh tahrimi, that is not permissible. The bladder, the glands, and this is more like what? Where they call the rank, and the gallbladder, the bile. Alright? And there are certain what texts that you would see that it is what? Impermissible to consume the spinal cord. That is a misconception. Alright? It is jaiz and permissible to consume the spinal cord or the spinal marrow. That is jaiz and permissible. Alright, we go on now to the method of slaughtering, and as we mentioned, this is not a bayan or a lecture. You could ask questions, right? The method of slaughtering, and this goes to what? Qurbani and out of Qurbani. Alright, the four vessels that are cut: the trachea, which is the air passage, the esophagus, which is the food passage, and the two jugular veins. Right, these four passages, vessels, must be severed and cut. Yes, the books of fiqh, the ulama, they mention at least 3 out of minimum, then 3 out of 4. But that, listen, 4, a person should what? Ensure that what the 4 is cut. Alright? And in cutting that, understand, when that is cut, that is sufficient. The animal will still have some life, so to say, in that remaining. Right? So some people what? After they cut, and they cut it clean, nothing else to cut, the animal still moving and they still cut. Hey, why you cutting again? Just relax yourself. Right? Relax yourself. After these 4 vessels are cut, that is it. Right? Any more cutting that goes to the what? At the back, right? The spinal cord here, that is makruh. Right? That is makruh. Understand, to slaughter, yes, it brings a certain amount of pain to the animal, except that pain is what? That is because of darura, necessity. Because of darura and necessity, you have to slaughter, right? But after slaughtering, the requirements of slaughtering are met. To slaughter beyond that, that is what? Extra pain, beyond any extra pain, there's no necessity and no need for that, right? So that is what makruh to what? To cut straight down to the end of what? The spinal cord. And some people after the slaughtering, they take the knife and they're still sticking. That is makruh. That is not permissible. Alright? Yeah, that is also makruh, right? They should cut off the neck clean, right? Understand? Even in slaughtering the chicken, the same veins that you're going to cut. So the veins that you're going to cut, and you don't cut off the neck, right? To cut off the neck is makruh. No, we mentioned even if it cut off, it is permissible. Here we're speaking about makruh karah, that is dislike, right? So even if they cut off the whole neck, the animal is still going to be halal and permissible. right? Even though you cut straight and you still cut in the neck or the spinal cord, the animal is going to be halal and permissible. But that is what? That action itself is dislike. That action itself is dislike and undesirable or reprehensible. See, I want to know if your hand going up, you know, you gotta come closer here. Alright, and we have a diagram over here. We have this on PDF, inshallah. I'll probably send it to pass it around. Alright. The Sunnah method, we continue on the Sunnah method of Qurbani. Right? It is more virtuous for the owner to slaughter. Right? This is your Qurbani, so it is more virtuous that you slaughter than somebody else slaughter. Alright? It doesn't mean that somebody else slaughter is not going to be valid. Yes, but a person, what if he should slaughter his animal, right? Unless that person, he doesn't know how to slaughter, right? He doesn't have that khibra, that expertise in slaughtering. So in a day like that, I want to try something. No, but you try next day, right? Not today. If it's a sheep or a goat, it's a small animal, at least you can guide that person over here. You cut like that, and everybody hold on. They just cut right here, right? But like in a bull, he doesn't want somebody just cut over there afterwards. They get frightened and he cut halfway. And so a person, what he's an expert. Then he has that expertise in slaughtering. Then he should slaughter. All right. So if the person himself doesn't know how to slaughter properly, then give someone else then to slaughter. The knife should be what? It should be sharp. Right, and those who are normally slaughtered, they would know. You can take a sharp knife, right? But listen, if this is for a bull, you need what? Even though it's sharp, you need some weight in it too. All right. So the knife should be sharp. A person, the books of fiqh mention yet, a person should avoid what slaughtering in the presence of other animals, if that possible. Right? Most of the time, that's not possible. If you do 1 or 2 animals, yes, right? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he slaughtered what? 90 camels, right? I don't think there was any pardon, any separation between them, right? But this is something, a good etiquette, any good habit, if possible. If not, then there's no karaha. Karaha meaning what? Dislike. Alright? After the animal is slaughtered, let the animal what? Cool down, when meaning what? Stop, let the movement stop, and then start slaughtering. Not that the animal is still beaten up, right? This animal is still moving and we're slinging up that animal and we're skinning that animal. No, let the animal settle, alright? That harakat and movement, let it come to what? An end, a stop, and then we start skinning. Stunning, alright? Stunning is not permissible, right? To stun the animal. So what? As for the bull, the type of stunning is that irreversible stunning where what? And you understand how the stunning is? We understand how the chicken, okay, they stun the chicken, but the chicken is a what? Normally when they stun the chicken is normally what? A reversible stun, right? You stun them and you knock them out. But that same chicken, you put it off the belt and after what? A minute or so, you would start back to walk as normal, right? That is what? Reversible. With regards to what the bull, that is what normally what all these meat that you all buy from that come into Trinidad over there, even though you have your nice logo on it, right? All this is stun, the beef, right? And how they stun is a bullet, not a bullet, but a bolt in the head of the animal, right? A bolt in the head of the animal, one blow, and then the animal it falls unconscious. And there's still some life remaining in the animal, and this is where they slaughter, right? This is where they slaughter. Alright, so the whole thing about stunning over here, there's a whole long debate, right? With regards to what? Reversible, control reversible stunning. Control a certain amount of what? Voltage, like the shocking, right? It controlled, and it will irreverse, and it what is reversible, right? The issue over here now is what these irreversible and stunning, right? How we so sure that that animal didn't die from that stun? Understand what makes your bull halal? What makes your animal halal? It dies from the slaughtering, right? You slaughter that animal and the animal it dies because of the slaughtering. How we so sure that that animal it died from the slaughtering and not because of that blow in the head? Yes, then some people say, listen, if it is slaughtered within a minute or 2 minutes or this and that, right? But for a person to be dead sure, guarantee that, listen, that animal didn't die from that blow. It didn't die from that stunning. That is a fatal blow. So how we was 100% sure that that animal didn't die from that blow, right? So a person, that's what we tell people, listen, when you're going to speak about the Qurbani animal, if you are custom eating beef and red meat, listen, keep your Qurbani animal. That is blessed meat, right? That is blessed meat. You look and see how you treat your animal, how you slaughter your animal, and how the etiquettes that you adhere to, and the sunnah method that a person adhere to when slaughtering his animal. And look and see how they do it, right? We don't see, that is why. How they slaughter these animals. So keep more than 1/3 of your Qurbani meat if you normally eat it during the year. That is blessed meat, right? So anyhow, we always give the example of what Musa alayhi salam. I always give the example of Musa alayhi salam. In the Quran, when Musa alayhi salam cuffed that person, right? We're not going to the whole incident, but you think that his intent was to kill that person? No, just cuff him and stop the whole argument and fight. His intent was never to kill. But what happened? That one blow, that was a fatal blow, and he died because of that. That person died because of that blow. So an animal, we don't know, all the animals are not the same health-wise and everything, their body is not the same. So it is possible that an animal, that blow could terminate and kill that animal before even slaughtering. So anyhow, in Qurbani and out of Qurbani, stunning is not permissible, right? This type of stunning we're speaking about, this irreversible stunning, more so in those large animals. The animal should not be dragged to the place of slaughter and must not be ill-treated in any way.
So if you tranquilize the animal,
See, tranquilizing and stunning is two different things. Tranquilizing is expensive. They don't do that. Right? Put a bolt in the head. That's what they do. Right. We're moving on. The sunnah method of slaughtering, right? It is mustahab or sunnah to place the animal on the left side. So the right side be up facing the qibla, right? So the left side here, like the left side would be here, the right side, and the head there facing the qibla. That is any mustahab, and they can do this with a small animal. They can maneuver that animal, right? Turn him, flip him, a sheep or a goat, right? But the bull when it drop, right? That is it. It's mustahab also if it faces the qibla, good, the bull. If not, you get a little turn. If not, slaughter him. Alright, and when the animal is grounded or before the animal is grounded, right, then recite this dua while the animal is grounded, right? Not that, okay, understand a small animal, yes, but you want to cause less pain to the animal also. So when the animal is grounded, they grounding the animal, the person recites the dua. إني وجهت وجهي للذي فطر السماوات والأرض حنيفا وما أنا من المشركين إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين وبذلك أمرت وأنا من المسلمين. He recites that dua, right? Then afterwards, with regards to the name, right? The name could be recited. It's not even necessary to mention the names. Right? It's not a condition. But if a person wants to what mention the names, like Nabi alayhi salam, before he slaughtered, he said what? An Muhammad and Ummati. This udhiyah is for what? Muhammad and his Ummah. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So here a person can what? Mention an, yani from, and mention the name Zaid Bakr Umar. And then he says Bismillah Wallahu Akbar. But after saying Bismillah Wallahu Akbar, there nothing else is mentioned. You don't say Bismillah Allahu Akbar and then mention any name. There's no name mentioned with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the time of slaughtering. So mention the names and Bismillah Wallahu Akbar and slaughter. Another method also is what? After mentioning this dua, Inni wajahtu wajhi lilladhi fatara as-samawati wal arda hanifa, that entire dua, Bismillah Wallahu Akbar, slaughter. And then a person, he can say, Allahumma taqabbal minni. Oh Allah, accept this qurbani from me and Zaid and Bakr and Umar and whoever is on what? That list. That's those 7 people, right? So before slaughtering or after slaughtering, right? But what important, the moment a person says here, Bismillah Wallahu Akbar, nothing else is recited there, right? You don't say Bismillah Allahu Akbar, yani Allah accept from Zaid, Bakr, Umar, and then after the slaughter. No, Bismillah Wallahu Akbar, and a person slaughter. So if he wants to what? Mention the name, that is what? He can do that what? Before slaughtering or after slaughtering. The person who slaughtered, it's better for him to say it, otherwise somebody what? Somebody else could say it, right? But the one who said Bismillah Allahu Akbar, he is the one who slaughtered. He has to slaughter that one.
It's not necessary for everybody to make that one.
No. Hold hand. No, listen, right? As you mentioned, hold hands, right? There is masala. If 2 people slaughtered, right? Both of them should say Bismillah Allahu Akbar. How 2 people can slaughter? One man slaughtered and you're on camera here, he catching the tail then that. And next one had a hold to what? The slaughter. Then he should say Bismillah also, right? He should also say Bismillah, alright? I mean, this is not something normal that 2 people slaughter an animal. But if one is slaughtering, right, and he's just rubbing and the other one coming to what? To slaughter also, mean holding his hand or whatever, whole hand, right? And what? Slaughtering also, he should also say Bismillah. Slaughtering, understand, a woman could slaughter, a non-valid child could, a child could slaughter, and don't ask why. For the last one, and a deaf person could slaughter also, a dumb person could slaughter, right? A dumb person could slaughter. So then you would say, so how is saying Bismillah? He could slaughter also, a dumb person could slaughter, a dumb person could get married, right? To get married, they have ijab and qabul, so, right? Often acceptance. A dumb person could give what? Talaq, right? He can what? Issue a divorce, right? But whatever sign ishara that is known, right? We're just saying that, I mean, if a dumb person would slaughter, it's valid, alright? The names, right? Huh? He dumb, he can't say that. La yukallaf, he not what? Subjected to something he doesn't have the ability to do. La taklif bima la yutaq. There is a principle in Sharia. There is no compulsion in that which a person doesn't have the ability to do. Right? So, listen, we probably feels that you're sad for the dumb person. But that dumb person, listen, on the day of judgment, everything that, most of the things that we utter, we wish that probably we didn't utter it, we didn't say it. Right? So that is salama, that is a blessing for him. Where's that? Right. So listen carefully, right? Before we before we go into the ruling, right, that question, a person what he forgets to say Bismillah, before we go into the ruling, listen, anybody forget to say Bismillah, don't even say nothing, don't mention that to anybody, right, don't even mention to anybody, right, why? Because the ruling is what, it is still halal and permissible, except if you tell somebody, listen, I forget to say Bismillah, you know, you die, that is trouble for the whole day and the whole year too. This Qurbani not valid, this not halal, and this not halal, and he eating and this not tasting halal too, because he didn't say Bismillah, right? So the ruling is what, if a person what, he said, yani taraka yani basmala nasiyan, he what, forgot to say Bismillah forgetfully, right? A person will forget, you know, intentionally and deliberately leave out Bismillah, he won't do that, and that whole day, pull day, you know, this and that, and right, slaughter now. I didn't say this. Khalas, don't tell nobody. Meaning what, it's halal and permissible, but if a person was in the midst of all of that, he forgets. Khalas, it's still halal and permissible. The animal halal, the Qurbani valid. We did that last week? No? Last week we did Nafil Qurbani. We did Nafil Qurbani. Yes, a person what? If he has what? Meaning that if Qurbani is obligatory upon him, he does for himself first. If he has the wealth, if he has the any extra wealth, and he does Qurbani on behalf of what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that is what also valid, right? And we mentioned also if it is a Nafil Qurbani, and how it becomes a Nafil Qurbani after a person fulfilling his religious obligation. Understand, once a person has the nisab, the obligation upon him is just one Qurbani, right? He has what, 10 million, 20 million, he has 35,000, one Qurbani, one sheep, one goat, or one bull if you want, or one portion, 1/7 of that. That is his Qurbani. Anything more than that is Nafil. So if a person does a Nafil Qurbani, optional Qurbani, then he can what? Have his intention could be multiple individuals, right? Nabi alayhi salam, he slaughtered 2 sheep, 2 ram, one for himself and one for the entire ummah, right? The entire ummah. So you could have what? As we mentioned earlier, a person what? He has what? And many people, they unmindful of this, they don't know, right? And Islam is a simple, right? So you have a person, grandfather passed away, doing for nana. Okay, grandmother passed away, going for nani. Mother passed away, 3. Father passed away, 4. Brother, 5, 6. So every year now he looking for a bull. Why? 1 for him and 3 for and 6 for all these what deceased people. Alright? And longer he live now, then he gonna have more people in his life and they might pass away. So what he gonna do? 3 bull, 4 bull. No, khalas. Once is a Nafil Qurbani, a person could intend multiple people. Right? One Nafil Qurbani could be what? On behalf of all the deceased people that he knows. Right? But understand, you are the owner of that Nafil Qurbani. Time to collect the meat now. Who collecting this meat? Well, all them dead people. No, you are the owner of it. Right? This comes under what? Isal as-thawab. Yani gifting rewards. Right? Just like you could make dua on behalf, yani make dua for what? Your deceased father. You can make dua for your deceased mother and they can stop. But if you want, you can make dua on behalf of what? Jami' al-mu'minina wal-mu'minat al-ahya minhum wal-amwat. All of the believers, right? Men, women, living and dead. Right. Now we have, and this part over here, those who normally would buy and sell, or not buy and sell, but purchase what? Qurbani animals, right? Until laws with regards to trade here. If you authorize a person to do Qurbani on your behalf, right? Like normally what? You take in shares, or you tell a person what? Do Qurbani, a goat or a sheep. You authorize somebody, right? They do it on your behalf. So what? You make them an agent, right? You make them an agent. So if you give them money, X amount of money to do Qurbani, and they purchase the animal, right? Whether it be a bull, 7 people, right? Or a sheep or a goat, whatever. And that animal happens to die, right? The bull dead, the bull died. The sheep are by fear die, What do you mean it die? Give me money. No. Who liable? The one who's authorizing, he is liable. The agent, yadul amana, that is a trust. You understand? He is not liable, right? The one who you give that money, so that's why, yes, you give trustworthy people. The bull dead, this, that happened, somebody steal it, that time you sell it, right? So, listen, that person, his hand is what? He has no liability in his hand unless he deliberately does something, right? Deliberately what? He did something to destroy or kill that animal or whatever, his negligence or something like that, right? But generally, he is not liable, right? So you cannot claim anything from that person anymore. Also, a person, we'll go back to one more slide on liability, but a person who doing qurbani, okay, on your behalf, right? You make a person an agent to do qurbani on your behalf, right? So that person now, he's allowed to what? Charge, in addition to the price of the animal, whatever costs is attached to that. You have transport costs, you have this cost, you have butcher costs, you have plenty costs, right? Processing, disposal of the waste, cleaning, whatever, all these costs, all right? He could what? He attach. But what important, that person should what? He should know how much, right? Hey, how much is a share, how much is the animal, or how much it's going to cost before. Not like some people, right? For qurbani, what they do, they only give you a price when they start weighing the meat. Qurbani and what? And meat is two different things, right? Buying meat, okay, say a share is $2,000, just say $1,500 or $2,000, right? So you go and see now $1,500 or $2,000, okay, how much meat I could get from that, right? So you're checking out. Listen, that is not qurbani. A person what? He must own the animal before slaughtering, right? He must own the animal before slaughtering. And when that animal is slaughtered, if 7 people is taking share from that, then how much it amounts to? 7 equal portion. Simple as that. But I get how much and how much I meat, right? A person what? $10,000. One person, $10,000, he purchases this bull, right? For what? This bull, he get 500 pounds. Same $10,000, somebody else what? You get a bull for what? 400 pounds. And now you're getting 10,000 bull for what? 350 pounds. Right? So now everybody pay the same amount. Right? Processing cost, this and that is what? The same. And they pay the same amount. But look at what? The difference in the price of the animal is the same. But look at the disparity in the meat itself. Right? Look at the disparity. That is irrelevant. This is your cow. This is your bull. Then what? Whatever is the amount is distributed equally and like that. But he getting what? 350 and next one getting 500. So what are you going to do? You know what some people do? They put all together and they mix it and then they give what? They share equally. That is totally impermissible. That is totally prohibited. If they can be from Monroe, they can be from the Haramain, they can be from where? Right? This is your bull, right? 7 people. So if my bull have 500 pounds and your bull have 350 pounds, then khalas. What you want me to do for that? What I could do, after what? This is shared into 7, that is shared into 7, that is shared into 7, given to its what? Respective shareholders. But now you want some meat? I'll give you from mine. Right? But you can't mix all that in one. At all. That whole qurbani will be what? Invalid. Why? Because one person, the most amount he has is what? 1/7 of an animal, one animal. So where your 1/7 is, well, I have how much? 1/10 here and a little thing here and a little thing there. No, this is your animal here. He's sharing meat. He's selling meat. Right? Understand? What he didn't do is what? You know what? He just say a person doing what? 3 bulls. Right? So 3 bulls, how much shares is that? 21. So what he do now? 3 bulls for 21 people. Right? 3 bulls, 21 people. That's what he did. That is wrong. 1 bull for 7 people. It must be specified. So he didn't specify. Had he specified, okay, this bull, these are the 7 people. This bull, these are the 7 people. And that bull, these are the 7 people. What he did, 21 people for these 3 bull. Right? So I don't know how valid that Qurbani would be. Huh? Right. A person will say, well, it's the same thing. 21 people in 3 bulls. You do all that maths now. You didn't went to school. Yeah, we went to school. Right? It comes the same thing. No, it's different. These 7 people, what? These 7 people own that bull. That is their bull. Everything what? In that bull belongs to these 7 people. And this next bull, right? Even though this bull, they pay $10,000 for it and they get 200 pounds of meat less. That is their bull. You could what? Speak to the agent before, listen, what kind of bull I have? My bull, where my bull is, right? Where my bull is from which, my share is from which bull? No, I don't want that. And you could do that before. And you could make arrangement before, but your bull is your bull. No, go ahead. No, them 3 shares is what? Nafil, right? So if a person what? He does Qurbani, 2 types of Qurbani here. A fard obligatory Qurbani or Nafil Qurbani, right? Obligatory he has to do. Qurbani does the Nafil one optional he doesn't have to do. But if he does it, it will be same ruling, right? Lillah. He cannot sell, he cannot make biryani and sell or samosa and sell this and that, right? He can give it away, he can eat it, whatever he wants to do with it. Just like what his any obligatory Qurbani. Right? Now, in purchasing what? Understand? Purchasing animals, right? Normally what? In a trade agreement, you have what? You have the price and you have the commodity, alright? So, in any trade agreement, generally there must be exchange of what? One exchange. You come to me, right? This bottle of water is what? $10. $5 then, right? $5, right? Either what? You give me the $5 and what? I owe you normally what? You give me 5 and I give you the water. This is normal trade, right? But if you give me the $5, right? And you say you pass back for the water after, then I say I'll give you the water next week or this and that is okay, right? Or I give you the water and you say, listen, I'll give you the money next week or next month. That is okay. That's a credit transaction, right? At least, right? So at least one must you hand over one. What not jais is what? You purchase this water for $5 and you walk away with your $5 and I keep my water. So what happens here now? This is a debt that I have for you and that is a debt that you have for me. So bay al-kali bil-kali, dain bid-dain, that is not permissible. That is not a trade. What happens in a trade? Ownership is transferred, right? In a trade agreement, ownership is transferred, right? So if I sell you this water, this belongs to you. A normal trade agreement, this water belongs to you. This leaves my ownership and enters into your ownership, right? So we're going to buy bull now. We're going to buy animal. Most of the time, what we do, we make what? We make promise to purchase. You see that I'm taking that bull, 10,000 I'm taking it, I come in what? Before Qurbani, take that. I collected it before Qurbani. You didn't collect the bull, right? Nor did you what? Pay anything. Alright? So that is what I promised to purchase. That bull is still in his ownership. Right? That bull is still in his ownership. That doesn't belong to you. right? Yes, we get a vex when the man come, but you sell the bull. No, he sold his bull, right? He sold his bull, except that what? At least what? A person if it's a promise, then what? Generally, and a person should fulfill his promise then, right? But many a times what happens to the farmers are taking that bull, right? And afterwards, a few days before what? Qurbani, I don't want it again. And 20 people came afterwards coming to buy that bull. No, this person taking it, right? So anyhow, that is a promise to buy. That is his bull, right? Yes, you promised to buy and he promised to sell, so that a person should fulfill his promise. But that is not a transaction, right? Having said that, no, this is a promise to what we're going to mention. So you can ask just now, right? So according to the Sharia, there's two things here. A person cannot sell something which he does not own. That is one. A person cannot sell something which he does not own. And secondly, a person cannot profit from something in which he has no liability. And we're going to explain how that comes in over here. Alright? And probably this is the best area to explain that. Just like if you know about drop shipping and this and that. But anyhow, how this works, sometimes listen. A farmer selling a bull for what? $8,000, right? $9,000. Say $9,000, right? $9,000 is selling that bull, right? So you go on and tell, listen, I'm taking that bull. Taking that bull. Meaning what? You promised to buy this and whatever. I was mentioning that is not a transaction, that promise to purchase, promise to trade. Now, this person, he knows that a particular person looking for a bull, a particular masjid looking for a bull. Alright, hey, I have a bull to sell now. $10,000. $10,000. Or he could say what? A person have that bull, have a bull in Barco, but a man have a bull to sell for $10,000. So two things has happened. Alright. Normally what? What does normally do? The man will come and say, listen, I'm bringing somebody to see that bull, right? You just tell him 10,000, right? Because he made an arrangement for 9,000 before. Tell him 10,000. Right? So that's one. Secondly, he said, listen, I come to collect that bull. What else for $9,000? I come to collect it. But he come with the person who paid $10,000 for it. Right? So that transaction is a haram transaction. Why? He just sold something he didn't own. That bull didn't leave the ownership of that farmer. So he selling what? The farmer's bull. Right? He is selling the farmer's bull. He cannot do that. Right? The most he can do over here, listen, partner getting the bull sell, give him a little commission then now. What do you say? Right? So you have some little commission, some wage, some agreement, yes. So the farmer would know. Right? The bull is selling for what? $9,000 and this is a little commission I'm going to give you. Right? But he cannot sell that bull for $10,000. Why? Or no price he can sell that bull. Why? Because he cannot sell something in which he doesn't own. Alright? That is totally haram and prohibited. Secondly, a person cannot sell. He cannot profit from something in which he has no liability. Understand? Liability. For example, listen, if you go to the shop, you come back by the shop here now. Alright? There's water on the shelf. Right? This is a glass bottle then. This water on the shelf, you purchase that water from me. You give me the $5. This belongs to you now, right? But I'm going to give you the water now and just fall on and the bottle break, right? Whose liability is that? Even though the ownership transfer, a trade agreement, that is my liability. Hey, partner, your water just fall on, you know. Until now, it is still in my possession, so I am liable for it, right? I am liable. I have to find the next water and give him it. Or that trade finished. That agreement was cancelled. Right? He purchased it. Listen, I'm going down the road to come back. I'll collect it when I come. When he went down the road, somebody what? Say a valuable item, somebody what? Stole it or got broken. Hey, partner, the thing you just buy in the shop over here, somebody just steal it. No, you liable. Why? Even though it is his. But now, what happened? The liability hasn't transferred to that person. Liability transfers when that person, he takes what? Possession. Whether it be what? Physical possession or constructional possession. Right? So that person has to take any possession of that, right? So now, go back to the bull now. You go, the farmer has a nice bull, right? Has a nice bull. So, if you purchase it right now, he's going to give you a good price. If you have to wait till Qurbani, he'll give you a high price. So listen, he's giving you for what? $8,000. So you give him what? $8,000. Whole lot. But the bull's still with him, right? But that bull is yours. So ownership transferred because of the sale agreement. But until now, liability hasn't transferred. So now you went and sell that bull for $10,000. So you bring the person, hey, that's my bull. I paid the man. Look the receipt here. I paid the man and everything. So you know, you selling that bull for what? $10,000. You profited from that bull without liability. Why? Because if that bull had died, that is the farmer's liability. Right? Something happened to that bull, that is not your liability. You getting back your money. Right? That is his that is the farmer's liability. Right? So even though what? You purchase the animal, you own the animal, but until now you haven't taken possession of that animal, the liability still lies with the farmer. So you cannot sell and profit from that animal without having liability. Ribhu ma lam yudman or la yudman. This is Nabi Isa, he prohibited any profit, right, from something in which that person has no liability. Right? So we can see in Qurbani time, we see the amount of unlawful transaction that takes place. Listen, we're going on YouTube, you know. Right? If I'm sorry to edit, we'll speak. Right? Understand? The animals that come in from what? From Cedras, right? That come in through Venezuela. Right? The only thing what makes it illegal? Because the government not benefiting. Right? Not benefiting and this and whatever. But if you lawfully, I mean, you purchase that animal, proper trade agreement takes place over there. They just come in through the borders. When they say illegally, right? The government not benefiting or anything from that, right? So if you purchase that animal, that is your animal. Jai is permissible. So all you have to look at and see if the necessary requirements there. The bull, it is 2 years or more, right? At least 2 years. But normally bulls that come in from Venezuela, they're not 2 years. Right? You can't, difficult to transport these 2-year-old bulls, be big, right? So most of the bulls that coming in from Venezuela, you might see them next year Qurbani. Not this year, you might see them, I don't know, right? But they're not 2 years, right? So if it meets the requirement for Qurbani, you can slaughter it for Qurbani, right? The sheep and the goat, okay, that may not be an issue, right? So a person says, listen, I'm not buying any animal that coming from Cedras. But you know what happens? All the local farmers, they go Cedras, they purchase the animal and you go buy them and buy it. Right? So they just saving the run from going on Cedras. Right? But the same animal, you purchase it. Right? So once it fits the requirement for Qurbani and is a legit trade agreement, then that's okay. So if you go back to the same liability, now you pay the person $10,000 for the animal, you purchase the animal, but until now the animal is in his possession. Liability hasn't transferred. And then after the court then say, listen, the animal dead. Animal died, someone stole the animal. And then what you tell him? So my $10,000, where it is? He said, what? I could do nothing for that. That is animal died and you tell that the work of God and this and that and a whole set of, right? But listen, that is his liability. Somebody stole the animal, but what you want me to do for that? The thief, I have no control over that. That is his liability, right? So that's why you all need to deal with what? Trustworthy people, right? Trustworthy people. And if they're not trustworthy, what happened? Nobody will steal the animal, you know. They sell that animal. So, anyhow, we continue it. No, it had no extra shares there now.
There's 5 shares.
If 5 people doing shares in that bowl, that divided by 5.
But if we want to do like 7 shares,
Uh-huh.
we want to use the extra shares.
Right, so if it is 7 now, then what? 5 people will share 1/7 of the animal. Right? So you have 2/7 remaining. And that 2/7 now, whatever you want to do with it, you want to what? The same people, same shareholders, they want to...
5 people want to do the next 2 shares. So everybody come up with...
Only one person can own a share. Right? Understand here? Only one person can own a share. You have... let me chip up and do a Qurbani now. No, you don't chip up and do Qurbani. Right? One person owns a share. 2 people can't own 1 share. Alright, but listen, one have 1,000, next one has 1,000. The share is 2,000. Or the sheep is 2,000. Khalas, one can give the other. But there must be one owner. 2 people can't do what? Any one share. Alright, 2 people cannot own 1 share. One becomes the owner and do the Qurbani, and inshallah that one is a good deed he did, inshallah he'll be rewarded. Right? But 2 people cannot own 1 share. 2 people cannot own one Qurbani. It must be what? One owner.
So if a family want to do so, we want to do an share for the family that wants to.
Right, so it wouldn't be we, it would be me. I want to.
I want to.
Yeah. Right, so they give you as a gift, you become the owner of the money and you become the owner of the share. And this is your intent. Yeah. So it must be what? Whether it be a obligatory Qurbani or a Nafil Qurbani, one owner. Right? One owner.
But if all have come up with an agreement that they have to do what we buy the bowl, it will be like an equal thing and everybody $5 decide to buy the bowl or whatever. We pay the exact amount and we know the bowl is 7 shares, so we take it, we 5 shares and the next 2 shares we take it that much. It will be like what we put up money towards.
Right, so nothing wrong with putting up and chipping up, but there must be one owner. One owner. 5 people can own 2 shares. Alright? One person can own 2 shares. Alright? One person can own 1 share. But 5 people cannot own 2 shares. Alright? Because if 5 people own 2 shares, you're going to get what? 1/7 to 1/7, and you're going to get 5 1/7. Alright? And now with these 2 extra shares now, and 5 people take, they're going to be what? Less than 1/7. Right? So anytime you get a scenario where a person, he comes in with what? He comes up with less than 1/7 of an animal, that whole Qurbani would be invalid. Right? So what they can do, yes, chip about make one person the owner. Right? One person, he's the owner of the Qurbani and this is his intention. 5 people cannot own 2 shares. Right? 5 people cannot own 2 shares. One person can own 2 shares or one person can own 1 share. Right? And he has the same intention. So the one who gives, listen, you have 3 people. They want to do what? A Qurbani, not obligatory upon them then, right? So what? 500, 500, 500. So everybody given 5, right? So for that to be valid, these 2 people have what? Give their 500 each to this individual. So now he has 1,500. This belongs to him now, right? This belongs to him. And he does the Qurbani with the intent of what? Isal al-Thawab, sending rewards to all of these what? Multiple different people, right? One person, 1 share cannot be owned by more than 1 person. 1 Qurbani cannot be owned by more than 1 person, whether it be a obligatory Qurbani or a Nafil Qurbani, right? Anytime a shareholder, he's entitled to less than 1/7, his haqq, his right is less than 1/7 of an animal, that entire Qurbani will be invalid.
So if the 3 of them, say 2 of them give the money to the same person, he said he's the one share, but the intention is that after the share was the share to come.
Yeah, that is his intention. Whatever he wants to do with it, he cannot give out. He is the owner of it. Just simple what? He is the owner of it. Alright? No, it's at the front of our hair. Remember, what a bull, right? It doesn't mean that what? You must have 7 people, right? 5 people could do a bull, 6 people could do a bull, and you say it in 5, you say it in 6, 3 people could do a bull, and say it in 3, right? The maximum is what? 7. Meaning what? You cannot have more than 7. Hey, 1 man could do a bull, right? And if 2 people doing a bull, you share half and half, right? You share half and half. There's 2 of us doing the bull, half and half. That is valid. But the maximum allowed is what? 7. Is 7. So if what? In this case scenario, okay, 5 people what? This is their obligatory qurbani. Then they have 2 shares remaining. As we mentioned, from that 2 shares, right, you can have 2 people each owning 1 share, whatever is the intention, right? Or 1 person owning what? These 2 shares and whatever is the intention, right? He is the owner of the share, right? The owner of the share must be 1 person. And whatever he intends, that is for him, alright? It's just simple, a simple thing. Listen, hey, 3 are we going in the shop to buy what? You're going to buy food then, right? So everyone will take out all the money, right? So you take out 100, 100, right? And you pay the cashier, right? Or you could do this as a new gift made, right? This is what? That's my money and I buy food for all you. Right? So it's simple. Just listen, I do the qurbani then, and this is my intent. Right? So take the money, whatever, you become the owner of that nafil qurbani, and this is your intent. So what does that mean? These 2 extra shares, those who contributed, right, they have no claim to it. Only you have that claim to it, right? And whatever you want to do afterwards, right? Like you give somebody $100, right? You can buy something from them later now, right? So after you give that person $100, you don't have to buy nothing from you later. But if you want, you buy, but that is yours, right? Listen, sharing the qurbani animal is just like inheritance, right? The estate. Alright? When a person dies, he has many different types of assets, right? And the heirs, the right of the heirs is connected to each and every single asset of that deceased. It's not like, okay, the vehicle will go to the son, the house will go to the wife, the jewelry will go to the daughter. No, every single asset, whether it be a pin, each and every shareholder has claimed it, right it. Alright, we continuing. We kind of finish here, I think, yeah. Alright, and there's, as we mentioned earlier on, before that animal is slaughtered, this is the price, this is the price, and these are the shareholders, right? Sometimes you find a situation where, listen, after the animal is slaughtered and the meat is processed and they send out the weight, oh, your qurbani is this amount. How is that? Your qurbani is what? This amount. No, that must be sorted out and specified before. It's not meat you're selling, right? It's not meat you're selling. So that's one thing, and the whole thing, and the other aspect of what? Pulling all the meat together and then what? Sharing it equally by 21 people or 14 people. No. And this problem would arise would only arise when what? The names are not specified before slaughtering, and that is a condition. If the names are specified and you call the names, this bull, these are the names. So if that is the case, then what? These people are the sole owner of that bull, right? You cannot take meat from them without their consent. You cannot do that. That belongs to them. These 7 people only. Right. So that is basically it. Just a few more slides. Important points, right? A person, yes, on that day there's a very busy day, right? It's a very busy day for those who do the qurbani here, and also a busy day for those doing the Hajj, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. This is when they leave from what Muzdalifah and they come to what Mina, they stone what the Jamar al-Aqaba, and then they slaughter, and then they shave, and if they have time, they do Tawaf al-Ifada, Tawaf al-Ziyara. There's a very busy day. Here it was a very busy day. So Even though it's a very busy day, a person should not be unmindful of his religious obligations. Yeah? The thing with Qurbani, when Qurbani comes, it abrogates all the laws that come before. You still have to perform Salah. Nobody you see my clothes. Blood and this and that. And how I go perform? How do you mean how you go perform Salah? Salah is more important than that Qurbani. Yes, all the importance we give to the Qurbani is still wajib. According to some ulama is what? Sunnah. Right? Even within the Hanafi madhab, many of the Imam, many ulama they mention is Sunnah. Right? So Imam Abu Yusuf, Imam Muhammad, they mention Sunnah. Imam Abu Hanifa mention wajib. Right? But this Salah is obligatory, right? So a person cannot say, because I'm engaged and preoccupied in what? This noble cause, Qurbani, I cannot perform Salah. No, right? That is what Talbisu Iblis, that is a deception from the shaitan. And also take into consideration that what? That blood, if it comes in contact with the clothes, that flowing blood, it makes the clothes najis. So listen, if a person knows, listen, have an extra suit, look at the time properly, right? Don't wait till the last 10 minutes to say, okay, I don't have time to change and this and that. No, be mindful of the Salah, right? Understand, the Qurbani is just the slaughtering, and that is the slaughtering. The slaughtering is the Qurbani, right? The processing and this and that is secondary. Then also what? Sometimes you have the issue with what? The intermingling of men and women, right? Which is what totally what prohibited in Sharia, even though a person might say is a noble cause, right? And that day also a person we should not forget the poor people, despite we're busy and we're doing this, we're doing that. Khalas, make time and what? Drop off the meat and give it to the poor people. Nabi alayhi salam, he mentioned that this is such a day, tushtaha fiha al-luhub. Meat is what? People are desirous of meat, right? Those who are doing the Qurbani, they are desirous of the meat. Who could afford the Qurbani, they are desirous of the meat. What about those who cannot even afford the Qurbani, right? They waited for what? Somebody to pass and then they drop some for them. So we should what? Despite our occupancy, we shouldn't leave them out. And also what? The argument, right? A person should avoid arguing, right? And the same thing, sometimes you just hear from people, right? He get more meat than me. Baba, his bull bigger than yours, simple as that. His bull bigger than yours, right? But we had the whole introduction in the beginning, right? The blessings, where the blessings lies. A person's taqwa, his piety, his righteousness. So less what? Conflict and argument, we can have it better, right? So that's why you look carefully if you're doing it together, who in your bowl? This man like to quarrel, he like to argue, I win in this bowl, right? And listen, that's your right. Alright? So we go to what? The 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. These are what? These 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah are considered to be the best days of the year. Yes, we understand the importance of Ramadan and this and that, and this and that many people are unmindful of. These days are what? The best 10 days on the face of the earth. Right? Nabi Aisha mentioned these are the best 10 days. Right? These first 10 days, the best 10 days. And a great day from these 10 days is the day of Arafah. The day of Arafah, very virtuous. We're not going to go into all the virtues, right? Or go into the virtues. Very virtuous, especially the fast of Arafah. For those who not performing the Hajj. And the best of the 10, the best of all is the 10th. أعظم الأيام عند الله يوم النحر. Hadith recorded by Imam Abu Dawud, rahimahullah ta'ala. The best day on the face of the earth, the best day is the day of Nahar, the day of slaughtering, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, the day of Qurbani. That is the best day. Alright? Now you have, and some people make a little mistake over here. Right? You understand, they have the days of Tashriq and the days of Takbir al-Tashriq. The days of Tashriq are the 3 days after Eid. The 10th, the 11th, 12th, and 13th. These are the days a person cannot fast. There are 5 days in which it's prohibited to fast. Right? The 2 Eids and 3 days after Eid al-Adha. The 11th, 12th, and 13th. Right? These are the days of Tashriq. A person not any days of what? Feast. Enjoy. Right? The dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Person not allowed to what? To fast on these days. Then they have the days of Takbir at-Tashriq. Right? The days of Takbir at-Tashriq, it starts from what? The Fajr of Arafah, which is only the 9th, the day before Eid. Right? So the day before Eid, the 9th of Arafah, is not the days of Tashriq, doesn't start from here. The days of what? Where we recite what? The Takbir after Salah, that is from the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, which is what? The day of Arafah, from Fajr and until what? They check. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. Right? From Asr, 13th. So you have what? Like 25, take away how much? 2, how much you get? Right? So 23 salawat. Right? So that last day which is on the 13th, right? There's straight until Asr. So Maghrib and Isha not included there. Bas. We'll stop here today, inshallah. Any questions before we close off?
I have one question here. I discussed last time. So saying to the Qurbani, in fact, they were successfully resident 15 years ago. So if you are a Hajj, less than 15 years old,
No, understand over here. We're speaking about when Qurban becomes obligatory upon a person, right? One condition is that if he is a resident, yes, he has the nisab and everything, but if he has to be a resident. If he is not a resident, he's a musafir, a traveler, musafir, then it is not obligatory. Something is not obligatory upon a person, it doesn't mean that what he cannot do it. Meaning what? If he doesn't do it, he would not be sinful. But if he were to do it, he would be rewarded. So we're speaking about here those who perform in Hajj. We mentioned what? There are 3 types, right? We have a person, he's a mufrid, a qarin, or a mutamatti'. So on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, after that they pelt the Jamra al-Aqaba, the 3rd one, the last one, now is the slaughtering. For a person doing Hajj al-Ifrad, we mentioned that, what is that? His slaughtering is what? Optional. A person who is what? A qarin or mutamatti', their slaughtering are obligatory. But we mentioned this slaughtering here is not Qurbani. This is separate from Qurbani. This you call it Dam Ash-Shukr. This is slaughtering out of gratitude. A person giving gratitude to Allah Azza wa Jal for having been afforded the opportunity to perform Hajj and Umrah. This has nothing to do with Qurbani. Even though what some people may call it Qurbani. This is not Qurbani. This is Dam Ash-Shukr, right? Al-Had. Right? So now a person, it is possible that a person, in addition to what? This Dam Ash-Shukr in Hajj, Qurbani can also be obligatory upon that person, except Qurbani is not restricted to any place. This Dam Ash-Shukr, it must be slaughtered in the precincts of the Haram. This Qurbani, you could do Qurbani anywhere, right? So if Qurbani is obligatory upon a person, he can do it anywhere. So a person performing Hajj now, if he becomes a temporary resident. Why we say a temporary resident? You can't be a resident in Makkah if you're going to perform Hajj. A temporary resident is that musafir that makes, upon his destination, he makes intention to stay for 15 days or more. So if he makes intention to stay for 15 days or more, you understand? You don't have to wait until the 15 days finish. No, his intention is to stay in this place for 15 days or more. He becomes a temporary resident. Becoming a temporary resident is just like a muqim, a permanent resident, the laws of a permanent resident. So if he is there now as a temporary resident, a muqim, and he has the nisab and this and whatever, then Qurbani is obligatory upon him. Now he has the choice to do the Qurbani there at his hometown, right, or any part of the world. Right, so that's 2 different things. If his intent is to stay less than 15 days, then Qurbani is not obligatory upon him, but if he still wants to do the Qurbani, he can do it.
Check how many days they will stay when they do the Hajj. Very question is less than 15.
No, like if a person what? Right? We're probably looking at the packages that we have now. If a person what? He goes, right? He goes on, like the Hajj of a person goes and he performs Umrah, for example, right? He goes like a mufrid, or mutamatti'. He goes and he performs Umrah. And he waits in Makkah 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, a whole month, waiting for the days of Hajj. Right? So he's in Makkah, he's what? He's resided in Makkah as a temporary resident because his intent is to stay for 15 days or more, and he's going to stay for 15 days or more. So for him now, he would be a temporary resident. Alright? So now, in addition to what? This dam as-shukr, Qurbani is obligatory upon him. Why? Because he has the nisab and all of what the condition, and plus he is what? Not a musafir, he is a muqim. So he would do 4 rakat, right? The concession what given to what a musafir would not apply to him. So even though they call it Qurbani, right? That is what specific to Hajj. That is specific to Hajj. Even though they call it Qurbani, right? And none of the Hajj package they offer what Qurbani. Even if they say Qurbani, this is dam as-shukr, right? That is specific to what specific to Hajj. Right, so you have to know now if you are muqim over there, right? If that is the case, then you have to do what? Qurbani also. You could do it there, or you could phone, you could appoint somebody at home or any part of the world to do that Qurbani on your behalf. Right? And if you do it home or elsewhere, it'll be cheaper anyhow. I think so, it should be cheaper. Bas, anything else? Last question. Said? بس طيب جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. سبحان الله وبحمده.